Right, okay, Bruno. So we
Hello.
are actually talking about the concept of news today. And in this conversation topic, you spoke a good amount of your thoughts on news, how news actually shapes and molds our lives, and how it affects and how it actually impacts us, right? And what is the necessity and what are the sources of different types of news, and what are the various types of news which are there all around us, right? The necessity of news is indeed very important since we are actually considered to be social people. Humans are, sometimes called social animal for that matter, and we live in a society. We live in a kind of a setup where we have to go about doing certain things, and obviously, if we are not aware of the different changes and transformations that are happening around us, right,
Uh-huh.
then we might end up in a soup. We might end up, kind of getting affected in some way or the other, right? So
Exactly.
obviously, whatever changes, global changes that are happening, changes in terms of rules and regulations, in terms of compliances, in terms of guidelines that are happening around us, kind of changes in government rules and policies for that matter. All right. And whatever kind of transformations that happen, that needs to be adhered sometimes, and we have to be updated about the same, right? We have to keep ourselves updated so that we can actually comply with it, right? So that's the basic idea of news for that matter. So news is actually that set of information that we need to go through, and we need to kind of ensure that we need to kind of keep ourselves updated about, right? So that we actually kind of act as per that, right? Like for instance, during the COVID time, like you mentioned, there were a lot of rules and regulations that were being created, and unless and until we kind of upgraded ourselves with the different levels of news that we are being kind of streamed by the authorities, we couldn't have acted in the right way, right? So lack of
Uh-huh.
news sometimes make us feel insecure, and and when we have the necessary news, we actually act accordingly for that matter. News is necessary
Uh-huh.
for us because that makes us understand how things are going around us, right? And how we should actually kind of act in different situations for that matter. Like for
Uh-huh.
instance, there are a lot of kind of places in the world which are getting very hot nowadays. Like for example, California in US has touched 56 degrees Celsius temperature, and it's going beyond 56 degrees Celsius now. So, unless we actually update ourselves regarding the same, we might actually end up, kind of traveling to that place. And if we travel to that place, probably, people who are not really kind of, comfortable with hot weather conditions, they might actually find it difficult to put up in that place. So that's the basic idea here. If we don't actually keep ourselves aware about the different changes that are happening around us, we might actually get affected negatively, right? And also, if you talk about here, India for that matter, in India, in the northern region of the country and in the hilly regions of the country, nowadays there are a lot of weather disturbances that are happening, a lot of natural disasters that have taken place. Landslide is very common in the hilly region now, right? And a lot of people have been affected, and people have lives of the people in those regions have been thrown out of gear. So obviously, we do not actually keep ourselves updated about the different events that are happening in those regions. Okay, so probably we might and in case if people actually travel to that place, they might actually get stuck, and they might get affected as well. They might get kind of badly impacted by the disaster that is happening if in case they actually travel to those places. So until unless we actually keep ourselves updated, and until unless we are actually appraising ourselves with the changes that are happening within our setup, within our society, within the country, and within the world for that matter, globally, whatever changes that are happening, we until unless we actually keep ourselves, kind of aware about those events, we might actually get affected negatively, right, for that matter. And also, there is the other side of the coin. right? The positive changes also happen in our society, in our setup, and we need to keep ourselves updated about the same. Um, there are various changes that are happening around us, right? If you talk about the positive changes, right, there are plenty of change, things that happen around us. A lot of positive events happen. You talk about sports, okay? There are a lot of things happen in the world of sports, right? Where exactly, the soccer World Cup is supposed to happen or was supposed to happen, right? Unless we get to know about the same in the news, then we won't be able to, or soccer lovers won't be able to travel to those places, right? There are so many important informations and announcements that are made by the authorities, right, regarding kind of employment, right, or regarding adherences and compliances. So until unless people actually and the people and the public and the citizen at large, if they until unless they actually adhere by those changes that are happening by, then probably they might not avail themselves of the benefits, right? So a lot of times it happens that news actually concerns our interest and our benefits as well, right? So until unless we actually um, appraise ourselves with the news, right, we might not be able to get the necessary benefits that are actually going to accrue to us, right? Same way, I would say, plenty, many a times in the newspaper, okay, they actually advertise different employment related advertisements, right? So job seekers or professionals who are wanting a change in the job for that matter, they might always go through that and get themselves benefited by those advertisements, right? So this is also, a kind of news for, budding youngsters and professionals and job seekers for that matter, right? Now, the next thing is from which source we can actually access news. There are plenty of sources nowadays with the advent of information technology. Um, you know, Pulling out information regarding current affairs and international national events is actually very simple, right? And also it is not very time consuming, and you don't have to wait for the entire 24 hours to get the news of the day, like the way it used to happen in the past, where people used to be dependent on only newspaper news, right? Nowadays, with the emergence of technology, you can get news in every 5 seconds or few seconds for that matter. In every few seconds, whatever news that are happening, events that are happening around us, that gets flashed on our mobile phones, right, or on our laptops for that matter, right? We just need to subscribe for that. So, accessing news has become very easy, it's very simple and very quick as well, right? And unlike what it was in the past, right? And moreover, nowadays satellite channels have emerged. There are plenty of news channels around us. It's not that you have to be dependent on only one news channels. There are so many news outlets who actually stream news, live news, recorded news, and so on and so forth. So, it's so very simple, so very easy nowadays, right? Thanks to technology and thanks to the changes that have happened in the way we are communicating for that matter. The communication industry has actually, transformed itself in a big way, right? So this is one thing. And if we go to the next point, like you talked about fake news and real news, of course, with so many transformations happening around us, so many changes happening, and so many developments and upgradations happening. Okay, we are also facing a situation where probably we actually come across the concept of fake news and real news, right? In the past, we didn't have this idea. When we go to that period where people were just focusing on newspaper news, or maybe just one channel brimming, one single news channel brimming the news. We had this idea that this is the genuine news, but nowadays so many outlets are there, so we are not able to decide which one is genuine, which one is ingenuine or fake news. Generally, it happens, on internet, where we find that some incredible sources, right? Sources which are not really genuine, they actually come up with certain news which are at most considered to be a fake news, right? And So it's really important that listeners, they actually verify the genuineness of the news that they are getting, right? And we should actually kind of rely only on those news outlets which are really genuine in terms of the credibility of the news and the factual nature of the news, for the veracity of the news, for that matter. We need to confirm it. So it's good that there's so many outlets nowadays. So if we are not really satisfied with content with one outlet, we can actually go to other outlet or channel, for the matter, right? And if the same news is actually coming in from from many sources, right, then obviously we can figure it out that this is actually a genuine news, right? So we should always focus on the veracity of the news, all right? Sometimes certain news are actually created and concocted, which are not really genuine, and it is intended to create some kind of disturbances in the society. So we have to figure out the reality of certain news and not just act without figuring it out whether it's genuine or fake, for that matter. So Bruno, that's what I can actually put across from my side. If you have your more questions, if you have your own thoughts on this, further thoughts on this, you can just come up with that, Bruno.
All right, Dover, thank you very much for providing your thoughts. I think I fully agree. I think the 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 topic news is very pertinent nowadays because we are suffering with a plenty of a huge amount of fake news. As you mentioned, every single second we have updated about something that's taking place around the world, and with that we have a huge amount of fake news. And with the technology, the artificial intelligence, we are struggling to understand if something is true or untrue, right? Because the people are using the image of a celebrity, like, I don't know, president, and using the artificial intelligence to make that image, that voice, what is being spoken is true, but in reality is untrue, because it is only the image and the voice of the people, but it is not the people, the person, but it is not the person in reality. And the artificial intelligence, it's something that we have to pay attention, no, because they are using the technology to actually create a fake news as well, and then we have to really pay attention on it as well. But that's what I got to say. Tanver, thank you very much. We have another class tomorrow, 30 minutes as well. Yes, see you tomorrow.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Bruno, for showing up for today's lesson. And I'm going to look forward for tomorrow's lesson as well.
Thank you
Okay.
very much. Have a nice night.
Also,
Bye
please
bye.
confirm today's lesson. Okay. Thank you very
I'll do
much. Take care. Bye bye.
that. Bye.